Welcome to Power On Weekly, hosted by your boy, Irving Legend, and your girl,
Allie Mayhem.
Allie Mayhem. What's up, guys? In the house. What's up? Welcome to Power On Weekly for the week of August 17th through the 24th. And boy, do we have a busy week this week.
It all happened at the end of the week, but it got real busy.
Towards the beginning of the week, some stuff happened, and the things that we're going to talk about this week is Epic versus Apple, the ongoing kind of interesting thing that feud.
Ish.
We'll get into it. Epic versus Apple, as well as the DC Fandome event, and we're also gonna once again talk to the community and for our question of the week. So let us get started. This week, well, actually not this week, last week.
Yeah, this has been ongoing.
There's been an ongoing thing with Epic and Apple. So Epic so it all started with Epic, right? They made a workaround almost, right, to buying V-Bucks on Fortnite. So instead of directly buying it through Apple like they're supposed to, they opened up a new thing and they're like, hey, you can directly buy it through us and you get a discount, right? So like, let's just say for, I don't know how much V-Bucks are, like 1,000 V-Bucks is like $10, right? You can either spend that $10 and go through Apple and get 1,000, or you can get 1,000 for $7. Basically cutting out the $3 that Apple gets of their share for having it on here. Obviously, Apple was not happy about that, and they immediately took them down. They took down Fortnite, and it wasn't just Apple who did it. Also, the Google Play Store did the exact same thing because it was a breach in their contract. It was a breach in what they had already decided, right? When this was all going down, I mean, this was right off the heels of like the week before that, where we had talked about Microsoft and Apple's thing going on with the Game Pass and everything. So right off that, we're like, oh man, like someone's sticking it to Apple, and they were already getting picked on, and I think Epic kind of took advantage of that and was also like, yeah, we'll jump in. But, and now that the dust has settled and things have kind of cleared up, I think we might have different opinions about what just went down.
I'm really glad we didn't cover this last week because, I feel like as things were going down, I think our opinions have drastically changed over the past 7 days. Now that we've had time to kind of digest how strange and how this whole thing went down and what the real takeaway from all of this is. Yeah,
exactly. So
do you want to start?
There's so much. That's why.
We had a conversation before we even got on the podcast about this, because it's just, the situation is not black and white at all.
Mm-mm.
And we can definitely see both sides.
Yes.
Of what's going on here, and I think it's really hard to have like a clear side to be on, because I'm just gonna say it, like what Epic is every time. It's gonna take forever for me to get used to this being here, because I talk with my hands a lot.
Yeah.
What was I saying? But basically what Epic is fighting for and like what they're standing against, like everyone wants to be behind. You want to be behind, like, price gouging and like
not
monopolies and all of this.
Yeah.
But Epic is the whole thing is real shady and ingenuous.
Yeah. Disingenuous.
Yeah. I keep doing that.
It's okay.
It's very disingenuous. Oh my god! Why is that such a hard word to say?
You said it.
Very disingenuous.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, y'all get it.
Yeah.
And how they're doing everything, because the problem is, it's like they breached. At the end of the day, they breached their contract with Apple and Microsoft. They did some shady stuff. They knew it was going to get attention, and they already had an entire campaign ready to go the next day. Everything that they released after Apple took them off of this App Store, you don't pull that together in the middle of a pandemic with limited resources overnight. And it makes me feel dirty thinking about how it was basically a planned thing.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. The free Fortnite movement is what they're trying to promote, and they showed a little film, literally taking a stab at only Apple, even though Google did take them off the Google store too. This ad was specifically targeted towards Apple because Apple ran the same ad back in the 80s. It was the 1984 ad that Apple had that I'm sure you've all seen already because of the comparisons and stuff. And
frame for frame, basically.
it really was, yeah. And using their Fortnite characters and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And, the big corporation was ironically an Apple-headed character. So, like, it's like you said, it seemed way too planned from the beginning for it to be like, oh, we're creating this thing. They knew damn well what they were doing. And that's the free Fortnite hashtag that they started and the campaigning about was just kind of gross once you started looking at it, to the point that even have a free Fortnite cup today. Oh man, we missed out on it.
We missed it. Fortnite's never going to be free now.
Where you could win the Apple, CEO corporate skin, and even like a hat with a free Fortnite on it with their llama with a chunk missing out of it, kind of like the Apple chunk missing out of their logo, and it was like the rainbow one, and it's just like oh my, like come on.
The more I was kind of like, as we were trying to figure out how to discuss this topic, I was getting really like just icked out by it for some reason. But the more you're talking about it and the more you're really putting to words, like they have this product to go against Apple and they have this product to go against Apple, like the more it's really like making me literally cringe. Like, I don't know. And some people are like, well, what if it's like obviously this is a marketing ploy. Obviously this is a marketing tactic. But people are like, well, what if Apple's in on it? And I don't think so. I genuinely don't think Apple is in on this. I think, and you know what? If it turns out at the end of the day, Apple is in on this whole thing, then I'm grossed out by Apple too.
Yeah, both companies, yeah.
But I don't think Apple's involved in this. And I think that this is just a clear attack and a clear stab at Apple. And the problem I have with it is it's very on top of like, here's products for free us from Apple. Like it's just kind of gross. It would be like taking another, like, obviously these other things are more serious, but like taking like Black Lives Matters and then trying to like make money and use that as a marketing thing. When people do that, it's gross because you're supposed to be standing for something, but you're not. You're using it to profit and to like incite kind of a mentality, right? But like I don't know. It's
what they're doing is like this movement doesn't necessarily isn't for the consumer, even though that's what they're selling it as, right? It's like, yes, well, we're doing this because we will make V-Bucks cheaper if you directly buy it through us, right?
Which is true.
Yes, it's true, but why is it only Apple and Google? Because the same deal has to be made for things like the Xbox and the PlayStation Store, right? They have to have those deals in as well. Microsoft needs to make money as well. So if you buy V-Bucks or, on the Microsoft store or the PlayStation store, the 70-30 percentage is probably there as well. So for this to just be like so heavily on Apple, it's just kind of, it's obviously targeted. It's obviously planned. And there really isn't like a cohesive like movement because it's only one section of the entire thing. And if you're really trying to fight for your whatever 70 to 30% that you don't want to pay for, then you would have been taking this to every platform as opposed to just one mobile platform, right?
Yeah, and see, that's the thing is like I can't even like wrap my head around outside of a marketing scheme like why they're doing this and why they're going about it the way they are. It just, nothing adds up to this, like nothing adds up on, like you said, like why they're targeting one market, except that maybe that's the market that's going to hurt their pockets the least to make a point. Because yeah, if it was about that, they would go everywhere, but they know the minute they do that, they're losing out on so much money. Like, so why Apple? And is it because we're trying to stand with all the other companies that Apple isn't letting on their market because of certain things? Like, I'm just confused.
that's kind of what I'm kind of getting at, was like everybody was already like kicking down Apple for this week, and Stadia, and like, you know, Microsoft were like, you know, and like, you know, they have their differences, and, you know, Epic just decided to come off the street and just like jump in and have this whole thing pre-planned and everything to go. And like I mean, like the thing is, it's like it might get Apple to maybe start talking about like, you know, like different price structures and stuff like that for them to be able to do. But at the same time, what Epic is trying to do is like Tim Sweeney himself said, he's like, we're trying to fight a monopoly, when in reality,
They are a monopoly.
Epic has been creating their own monopoly for the past like couple years, ever since the Epic Game Store launched. So like let's talk about that for a second, right? The hypocrisy, and the reason, one of the biggest reasons why we have such an issue with this is because Epic is trying to be for the people, no monopoly. Let's take down the man, kind of a thing. But when it comes to them, they're like, no, we want exclusives, we want exclusive partnerships and stuff like that. Which that's a like we'll talk about it now. I was gonna say a whole nother story, but like, so Epic launched their launcher, and they immediately had a bunch of backlash because of the exclusivity, right? So they had games like Borderlands 3 that was exclusive to the Epic Game Store. They had I can't even think right now off the top of my head of some other games, but even recently, like Hitman, the new Hitman that's coming out in January is being released exclusively on the Epic Game Store. And what's good about developers going to the Epic Game Store and, you know, going releasing their game exclusively through them is that they do get a better profit. They do get an 80%, 88% to 12% that Epic gets, right? That's huge. That's pretty massive. That's a good chunk of money that's going directly to you, and all that fun stuff, especially for self-publishing, developing companies like IO Interactive, which is the team who's doing the Hitman game, right? So it makes sense for them to do that. But at the same time, it's also kind of scummy that they're doing that and keeping it that exclusive when they're over here trying to say, fight the man, no monopoly, all this other stuff. And then you can't play Hitman on Steam or, you know, whatever other launcher that you want to use. And I mean, people have a big issue with that. I mean, you and me, we really don't care, because we play on console here and there. And like, I play on PC, yeah, Steam, whatever. And having to download an extra launcher, for me, I don't care. I'm not as heavily as invested on PC like that. But
It's
people
the
are
principle.
yeah, it's more or less a principle that people are having an issue with, and just the hypocrisy that they're kind of leading with this movement.
Epic is trying to have their cake and eat it too, you know? Like, at the end of the day, you can't sit here and say, we're doing all of this for the consumer, we're doing all of this for the developers, and then be doing it basically exactly the same thing. And they're probably going to be like, oh, but we're so much nicer because we give them a little more money. But really, at the end of the day, if you're asking for exclusivity on a game, they're losing money. Hands down, you cannot argue with me that they are not. They may make more per sale through you, but you cannot tell me that there are people. The mics. You can't tell me that there aren't people who didn't go buy that game because they didn't want to download another launcher. I hear this a lot from people who play on PC. They're tired of new launchers. They're tired of having 20 different places they have to go for their games. So you can't tell me they didn't lose sales. The thing is, if you're going to be for the developers and for the consumer, what you need to be doing is saying, I'm going to give you a better deal for every sale you have on our platform, but you can be on these other platforms. That's being pro-developer. That's being pro-consumer. Because at the end of the day, if you're doing something, and if they're really touting, hey, we give a higher percentage to our developers, that's the reason you should be downloading our launcher over these other ones and buying from us. It shouldn't have to be an exclusivity deal. That's again, like you were saying, a monopoly. That's you monopolizing on that one game that can't be like downloaded other places. And that's what's really icky. They're going kind of against everything that they're saying. If there wasn't that exclusivity, I would be giving Epic so many props for giving them the extra profit. But at the end of the day, you're not doing what your message that you're trying to deliver is. You're still going against your own message by the exclusivity. And I know they're kind of two different topics in a way, but it all ties back into, like, you can't have one message and then not really be fully supporting that, and that's what this feels like.
No, for sure. And like it's more going to your point about like that alienation, right? Where it's like, yeah, you might have like a better the developer might get, better profit from here, but now you're completely alienating a whole different what's it called, who maybe doesn't even want to, they have their reasons why, right? They want to use Steam, they want to use another launcher, whatever it may be. But that's a whole different like group that you're alienating, and it goes against completely what they're trying to accomplish and they're trying to do. And but yeah, that's pretty much where we're at with that whole debacle, this whole conversation. I'm curious to see what these clash. Oh, I did it. Yeah. I'm curious to see what these class action lawsuits are really about and what they're going for. And I would be extremely surprised if they were both in on this. And this is just a whole marketing scheme. And this is season 3, everybody.
It could be. But I mean, I do have a few other points to make on this, just because I think the other thing that's rubbing me the wrong way with this whole thing is I feel gaslit. Yeah. Does that make sense? Like, yeah. Because what they're trying, like on that surface level, what they're trying to do, you're like, yeah, go Epic. Like, but then at the end of the day, like if you think about it, Apple has done nothing wrong. They have done nothing wrong at the end of the day. Why are they getting attacked? Like, Epic is completely gaslighting Apple right now, because going into like kind of boring business talk, at the end of the day, they breached a contract.
Yeah.
And Apple did what they needed to do. Like, the thing with running a business is Epic, before they ever put their app on that on the App Store, they knew they had to run the numbers. It's not like they were blindsided by this 30%. It's not like they had no idea or suddenly it was upped. Like, you go through and you crunch those numbers. You say, what is going to be a better value for me as a business owner? Is it more worth it to have it on this and take a 30% cut and loss? Or is it better just to not have it on there? And like you as a business owner, balance those things out before you ever make these deals and you ever do these things. So that's the other thing, is just like how premeditated all of this had to be, because like, and so like I said, so like I feel kind of I feel like they're gaslighting them, because they're making Apple out to be the bad guy when the only person who did anything wrong was Epic for bypassing something that was clearly against their terms of use in the store. And then they're like, oh, well, they're the bad guys because we did this thing that we totally knew we weren't supposed to do. And then we made an entire campaign around it. Like, it's just, so then you like want to be like, yeah. And then when you really think about it, you're like, oh no, you're literally gaslighting Apple. That's messed up. That's gross. As someone who's been gaslit in my life, I think I keep going back to that. Like, you feel dirty because you're like, I should be supporting this movement and this message, but now that I'm thinking about it, I can't, because that's gross. And like, I don't know. Like, the other thing is Fortnite's entire market, well, not the entire market, obviously, but a high percentage of their market is young kids, probably 13 and under, who have no clue what running a business is, who have no clue. So they're basically like gaslighting Apple to a bunch of kids who are going to be like, yeah, forget Apple. Apple's awful. All because like they think Apple's the bad guy. And that's so messed up. Because think about the long-term effects that could have. You have these young kids who are going to be teenagers who are going to be getting high-tech phones. And they're going to, I mean, like, if you really think about the long-term effects this could have on a business too, from young, impressionable kids who don't understand that Apple did nothing wrong because they've never run a business. Like, it's just so messed up. And like I said, if at the end of the day, Apple is in on this, even worse. But I really genuinely just think, it's just the marketing ploy that they didn't think through on how, just, I don't know. I could go on about this, but like I said, just Apple hasn't done anything wrong. Epic's totally in the wrong on this, and it's really gross, and I don't like it at all. And it makes me not want to support Epic at all. It's doing the complete opposite of what they're trying to do, ironically.
Yeah, for adults like us, I think we see through what they're doing and stuff. But yeah, for like you said, like it could have some long-term effects, and this might be actually kind of dangerous in the long run for a company of this magnitude to be doing this. But at the same time, we're talking about $2 million companies that are just fighting over each other.
Yeah,
So
they're neither of them are gonna hurt that
yeah,
bad.
and at the end of the day,
You don't
like,
feel bad because they're making so much money,
and
but
at the end of the day, they're gonna ultimately win anyways. Like,
both will.
yeah, and the consumers really aren't gonna win anything about it. So it's just kind of even more gross that it's like using the consumer as like fodder to fight their battle or whatever they're trying to message here. So it's just kind of weird. I'm glad that we didn't talk about it immediately, and I'm glad that we're seeing everything now here. But it's just still really odd and strange and gross, and I just want to see what happens next. So I want to then ask the community, what do you guys think about this whole Epic Apple thing? Yeah.
Because I can't even. It's one of the. This is a conversation I want to have, and I hope our points have come across
Yeah.
correctly, because it's even like a really hard conversation to like put into words. Like I don't know. Me and Irving have had like a really weird day trying
to figure out,
even discuss this and put into words what our thoughts are on
like, our
it.
thoughts. Yeah.
But so I'm very, very curious. Like, are we looking into this too deep? Are we like, am I like way too deep into this whole thing? Or we're very curious about your guys' thoughts on this, because it's weird.
It is.
It's just a weird thing.
Yeah. It's something that I definitely didn't. Well, I don't know.
I didn't see this coming.
I didn't think that this is such an odd conversation to have, and like you said, we talked all day trying to figure out how to like even have this conversation. But I think it is a conversation that people need to pay attention to, because like I said, it might have some more long lasting effects that I think
this is like when you really dig deep. This is a lot bigger than it sounds like. It sounds so hollow and kind of like, oh well, they didn't get their V-Bucks and they didn't get their percentage, and now they have it. Like I said, like this could really. I think this is so much. There's so much under the surface on this conversation, and that's why it's so hard to like condense into the like 15 minutes that we've been trying to right now, and not just drag it on.
Yeah, but like hopefully
please.
we made sense of what is going on, and I want to know what your guys' opinion is. So let me know in the comments below, and
I'm so curious.
Yeah, and we'll talk in the comments. Yeah.
This is a weird one.
DC Fandome.
Write a name.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the name, but
yeah, you said it's real cringy.
It's a little cringe. Yeah,
it's weird.
It's odd to say too. Anyways, the DC Fandome event was held yesterday on Saturday, and promised a lot of things for DC fans.
They delivered a lot of things. That's fair.
They delivered some questionable things, some blood boiling things for Allie, which we'll get into. So I want to start by they released they announced 2 games, okay, and then they showed off, what is it, 1 2 3 4 movies. Yeah.
This is really hard when you talk with your hands a lot.
So let's start with the games, okay? Now, Rocksteady, the makers of one of the most beloved superhero franchise movies or video games, the Arkham series, has been hard at work for quite some time, and they have been teasing these 2 games, or specifically the Suicide Squad game, for years, for a long time, and actually no, the Gotham Knights ones as well. They've been teasing these for a while, so we finally got to see something out of it. Okay. Actual gameplay and actual game that we got to see was from the first game that they announced, Gotham Knights, which is takes place in Gotham City. Batman is dead supposedly, and he has passed on the mantle to his Bat family,
his underlings.
Yes. And you've got Jason Todd as Red Hood, the original Robin, who got beat the hell up by Joker and then turned into Red Hood, a very dark vigilante. You've got the boy wonder Robin himself. You've got Barbara Gordon, which is Jim Gordon's daughter, who is Batgirl in The Killing Joke. She gets paralyzed from the waist down. She becomes Oracle, helps out Batman. And in this, she finally regains, her movement in her legs again, and now she's Batgirl. And then we also have the one and only Nightwing, another Robin in the past, that Dick Grayson, and he became basically the good version of Red Hood, right? Which I know Adrian's a fan favorite of.
Little yin and yang off of each other.
Yeah. So four characters. It's 2-player co-op. It's RPG-ish, so there's level progressions. You level up, enemies level up, or have levels and all that fun stuff. And it's coming out in 2021. I know you're not like a big like I have got a ton of things to say about this, but I know you're not like that into it as me. Well, I want to know what you thought about this as a person who doesn't really like know like a lot about like the series.
I mean, it looks good.
Yeah.
I know that I know every character. I know that they are all fan favorites that I feel like I don't ever see very often in things. And I don't know if that's just because I haven't, followed Batman for a long time. But like, I don't know. I think the cast looks good. The game looked good. I've watched you play Arkham.
Yeah.
So I understand kind of the differences a little bit in how it's being created. Like I see the differences, I see the similarities. Like honestly, it looks fun. It's something that I would be down to pick up. Both of these games looked great.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
definitely. Well, maybe we'll get some 2-player action because it's 2-player co-op.
Yeah, I would be down to play 2-player with you.
Great, awesome. So, but on that though, I think it's a little odd that it is 2-player only because it's
When
4
there's 4
characters.
characters.
Yeah, and the next game we're going to talk about has 4 characters as well that you can play 4-player co-op. So I don't know what's going on in the development of that. Maybe the game was designed just to be 1 and 2 players, and I don't know what's going on. But I feel like this could have been the perfect answer to Marvel's Avengers. And to be honest, like I think this looks better than a Marvel's Avengers, even though it kind of feels the same way as far as like the level progression goes.
I mean, honestly, I've seen less from this and I'm way more interested in it than I am in the Marvel game. And I don't know what it is, but like I've never been a huge Marvel fan. And the movies were great. Like hands down, at the end of the day, you cannot deny that their cinematic universe was fantastic. Yeah. But for some reason the characters never gripped me as much, and like when it comes to games and cartoons and everything, I think that DC has always just had a better something about it just works better. And like I don't know, yeah, the new Marvel game that's coming out, I don't know. It doesn't look interesting at all, and like I said, I saw less of this, and I'm more interested. I would be more interested in this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Batman Arkham Knight or Arkham, Asylum, City, and Night fan. Like, I love those games. I love playing as Batman, and that's kind of also one of the things that I'm sad about with this game is that you don't play as Batman. I love playing as Batman in those games, and they're so good. And it's time to shine the light on these 4 nights, which is great, and it's
characters
awesome.
That don't get as much love.
No,
so.
You're 100% right. So like I do see that, and that's why I'm saying he's kind of dead because I'm sure he'll come back or whatever.
You said though, you did point out that like Batgirl's got kind of a similar play style. They all seem to have very distinct play styles, so at least you get a little bit of that similarity in playing. I know it's not Batman, but at least you kind of have hopefully that'll be kind of like your similar style and make it feel like those old Arkham games.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm super stoked for this. It's coming out in 2021, hopefully. With everything going on, that's always put a little asterisk next to it.
Yeah, who knows anymore?
You might as well, yeah. But a game that definitely is not coming out in 2021 is the Suicide.
Wait, you forgot
what
about the Court of Owls?
Oh my gosh, yeah, the whole Court of Owls.
I'm like, how can you forget that? Because that was really what gripped me in it, and I don't know the story. Irving said it's a really beloved kind of thing, but it made it look real spoopy and real scary, and kind of like that's what got me in the thing. Like everyone looked cool, the gameplay looked nice, but that Court of Owls looked real interesting.
Yeah, so the Court of Owls, I think we're introducing the new 52s, and it's a very interesting story that highly recommend reading on it. But they're basically a secret society.
Don't ruin anything for me.
They're a secret society, and they're just trying to kill Batman. At the end of the day, that's all you need to know. And this was rumored to be a Batman Arkham, City style kind of game versus Court of Owls, but it's kind of odd. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's so odd that this game, Batman's dead, but then you've got Court of Owls like almost at not the forefront, but they're there. Like, how do you have that story without Batman in it?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, but
I'm kind of glad I don't really know the whole thing behind it, because it'll be an interesting way for me to be introduced into it. And then if I like it, I can go to the comics or whatever. Yeah. But like I said, I mean, it's kind of cool being completely blind to it and having seen that and been like really intrigued by it.
Yeah, because it just came out of nowhere. Like you think the trailer's done, and
yeah, I thought it was done.
Some spoopy owl things coming up. Yeah,
it looked cool. It looked really cool.
The next game that was announced was Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League, and they only
Kill the Justice League movie.
Yes,
please.
Zack Snyder. No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry.
Too soon.
yeah, too soon, and part of the conversation later.
We'll get to it. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League, which we didn't see any gameplay at all. It was just a fun cinematic trailer, and it's pretty much what I expect from a Suicide Squad game. Yeah, the humor is there, the characters are there. King Shark is getting the huge spotlight, not only in this but also in the next movie, in the movie that we're going to talk about next. So I think it's cool. It looks fun. It looks cool. And the whole concept of evil Superman and evil Justice League, obviously being controlled with his eyes being purple and all the other monsters being purple and everything like that too. It's obvious, but I think it's still going to be pretty cool.
You know what? I'm excited for it as a game. The trailer to it was enjoyable and interesting, and it makes me realize that I'm more into the idea of Suicide Squad as a game than a movie series. And I don't know, again, they didn't show any gameplay, so for me picking it up would really depend on how it plays. But I mean, for someone I've not really played a lot of the Batman games. Like I said, I watched you play Arkham a bit, and I really enjoyed it, and I liked how that looked. I don't know, I'm intrigued, and I feel like it's been a long time since I've been intrigued by kind of a story-based game. And like I said, everything that's been coming out, like the Marvel game, just literally made me want to take a nap.
Yeah.
So I would be excited to. This seems like it's really early in development. I'm excited to see kind of what they do with it and how it plays, though. That will really be the selling point. But I'm intrigued. It did its job in. The humor got me, the kind of idea got me. It is what I would expect, but in the best way possible, which I can't say about the movie when we.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. So we're giving a lot of praise right now to these two games, and I think they're well deserved. These, Rocksteady has been a great company, and they've really made the Batman games, they put them on the map, right? For everybody always puts Spider-Man 2 and even the most recent Spider-Man game at the very pinnacle of what a superhero movie or superhero game should be. But I think people overlook of how incredible the Arkham series has been. So I completely have 100% faith in Rocksteady and being able to deliver. Now, the Arkham game, the Gotham Knight games, is more reminiscent to the Arkham series and the combat style. But the Suicide Squad one, there's a lot of guns going on. Every character pretty much has a gun. I mean, King Shark has a freaking Gatling gun that he just pulls out, So
two very different styles of games.
Yeah, and they said that
that one's also set in Metropolis, right?
It's set
not even in Gotham.
Mm-hmm. It's set in Metropolis, and gunplay is. They said that is going to be really heavy in this game. So it goes opposite of what goes opposite of what the Arkham series has done, but
which is more stealth and not about.
Yeah, but I also find it really interesting that the Gotham Knights isn't set in the same universe as the Arkham series, but the Suicide Squad Kill Justice League does take place in the same universe.
It seems a little backwards,
even though Harley Quinn doesn't really look or sound or has this act like the Harley Quinn from the Arkham series. No, I mean, and Deadshot, Deadshot is a completely different character. Yeah.
A different race, a different person. Yeah.
It's very odd of
how do you forget and overlook that big of a detail if you're trying to connect them?
I don't know. Maybe we'll hear something else that comes out from. But at face value from what they said that's what this is. I find it really interesting and very
weird.
Odd. Yeah. So those are the games that were announced, and we'll talk about the movies next. And we're basically talking about the heavy hitters. I know that Flash season 7 got an announcement, and they got a trailer. Yeah, they got an announcement. They did a Flashpoint as well, where they showed a new costume for Flash, as well as a tease almost of Michael Keaton's Batman included in there. So I have no idea where that is going, but so I know that there's other things going on. They had the Superman animated movie as well. Like, I know, but we're talking about the big things here, okay?
Yeah, there's other things, but we're not gonna
Yeah,
hit
I
everything.
that's why I wanted to mention it now. Like, I know like I've seen all the other stuff, but I want to talk about these things because I feel like these are the things that are going to be talked about the most, and the things that
and are relevant to us. We don't watch the TV shows,
Yeah.
so
and we have the most opinion on it. So I wanna preface this, okay, by saying I think it's fair to say that you and I are not fanboys of either or, okay?
no, not at all.
Like I'm not I'm
We're
not a
pretty unbiased.
Marvel fanboy. I'm not or anything like that. Like I love the movies. I think they're great. But if you ask me what my favorite superhero is, it's Batman. I love Batman. Like, and I think that the DC franchise is fantastic, has great characters, it's got stuff, but they also have their faults, right? They have their movies, and we can't deny that that's not a thing that they haven't really successfully done. So I want to say that from the get go, so then people
We're
are
not.
like,
Yeah, we're not.
"Yeah, you Marvel fanboys."
Fanboying. In fact, I'm very. I feel like, again, this is an area I'm very unbiased on because I've never been a huge comic book fan.
Yeah.
Not that I don't enjoy them. That sounds like, but I'm not a big comic book person. I enjoyed superhero things growing up when they were on TV. Like I enjoyed all this stuff, but I was never, for the longest time, I didn't even realize they were two different things,
Yeah.
But like as I've gotten older, I've realized, oh, I'm a fan of DC. I like the DC characters more, and I'm a big fan of how dark and gritty it is. Like I have always been drawn to that, to the whole Gotham thing, like I've always been drawn to like the dark grittiness of it, the more kind of realism in it in a way versus being a complete and total superhero. Like, like they're all kind of people that things have happened to or have been mutated in some sort of way. Like I always kind of liked a little more of that, I guess, as much as you can say realism is in it.
Yeah.
And I didn't even like Marvel until I started watching the movies. And so I think that's too, like, I'm not a fanboy of one or the other. I'm pretty unbiased. But like for me, DC has always done like what is it? Cartoons really good.
Yeah.
They've always shined in different areas. Animated series, and like the games. And I feel like it's kind of the opposite with Marvel. Like they've done great in the cinematic realm. And I feel like, yeah, like DC has really tried to do the same thing, but they also tried to cut too many corners to get to the same place and find results quick. And it has bit them in the butt so hard.
Yeah. So let's begin. Like something that hasn't bit them in the butt hard was Wonder Woman. I think Wonder Woman was one of their like saving graces in a time where, that was post Batman v Superman, and no one really expected this universe to even have some sort of like shape or form after that. But I think Wonder Woman was great. I think both you and I really enjoyed it. The last act was horrendous though. I wish that they would have done a different like direction with that, with a whole like that guy who was the secret agent, and he turned out to be a god, and oh my god. Anyways, but I think that Gal Gadot did a fantastic job.
It was enjoyable.
It was great.
It was good. The gripes you have weren't deal breaking.
Yeah.
Like it was still an enjoyable movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was filmed well. It was enjoyable.
Yeah, and Wonder Woman 1982, they had a panel, and then they showed the trailer off at the end where they showed Gal Gadot just doing Wonder Woman things, and then you've got Kristen Wiig who's being pretty emo during the thing, and then she turns into a cheetah at the end,
That's the whole story.
Yeah, and Pedro Pascal, great actor, and he's the bad guy in this as well. But something you're not really too happy about is seeing Chris Pine back in the movie.
I'm gonna be honest. He died.
He died at the end.
And
he took an airplane up and it exploded.
Everyone knows. Anyone who knows me knows I'm not a fan of like killing off a character and then bringing them back. Like, I get he's the love interest. I get I don't know. It's an instant like, and then to like have it in the commercial. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know enough about Wonder Woman to be like, oh yeah, like I totally saw that coming. But it's like, I feel like there's a hard balance when it comes to movie making and comics, right? Because you have the more casual fan base. Like I consider myself, I like comic book stuff, but I never read the comics, so I'm very, very casual. I had friends Like I had friends who were super into like Wonder Woman and stuff. So I do know some stuff. But it feels like in this situation, you're making movies for a mainstream audience to a point. Like, yes, you want your fan service. Things like that. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know why he's back. So why are we putting that in the commercial? And like, I don't know. It's just things like that. Like I'm someone who really loves to be kept in the dark for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like, and then like I said, so I'm just like, oh, so he's not dead. Cool. And I know that going in, and then it's kind of, I don't know. I'm like, I want you to kill your person and have them be dead.
Yeah.
Or
make it a surprise. But then,
or make it a surprise. Yeah.
Chris Pine, like
he's a seller though.
Yeah, he's a seller. You have to have him in it. Yeah.
And I think that's why it bothers me, right? Is it's like, oh, they're like, oh, but those people love Chris Pine. Oh, here he is. And it's just like, I could have looked at like, I don't know. Like I feel like Hollywood just always kind of ruins the good things to get butts in the chairs. And I get it's to make money, but it's like, as someone I'm not someone who's usually sold on an actor or an actress for the most part. I want the surprise, or I want don't spoon feed me too much. Yeah. But I get it. Like, I think that there's such a huge challenge in making trailers. I feel like that's got to be one of the most challenging jobs in Hollywood. How do you make it interesting without giving too much and without having someone feel like I do? I'm just like, oh, like, why do I know this? I don't want to.
Yeah, Batman v Superman was the perfect example.
God, don't even get me started.
The Suicide Squad was shown off, and yeah, I get the look on your face. So the way they announced it, this was we already knew that this was happening. Directed by James Gunn, right? The director of Guardians of the Galaxy, and among other things. And they put out a like almost 2-minute trailer of the cast.
Am I making you uncomfortable?
No, you're not. And looking at the cast as it's going by, you're like, oh, cool. Margot Robbie's like fourth, and then you're like, oh yeah, there she is, and then it keeps going, and it keeps going, and it keeps going, and it keeps going, and it keeps going.
At the halfway mark, what did I say?
You're just like, you already thought it was like too many characters at that point, right? Or
yeah, my literal words, and I was being serious. I looked at Irving and I said, "Is this a joke?"
Oh yeah.
I was like, "They're kidding, right? Like they're doing this to like be funny." I thought they were doing it to be funny because that's the kind of humor you would expect in.
Yeah, by James Gunn, or just in Suicide Squad. 17,
and then it kept going to
17 characters, 17 actors. And these aren't just, they're actors here and there, but like they're big names. You got John Cena, you've got Michael Rourke, right?
Nathan
Fillion. You've got what's that dude's name? The guy that
that one guy who dated Ariana Grande.
There you go, Pete, whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah,
I hate that guy. There's so many big stars. Idris Elba's in. I love him.
That's the thing, right? Not a bad. The issue's not the cast.
Yeah, and that's so many people, and we've seen. Even Justice League. I mean, like Batman vs Superman, and Justice League in general. Like, people were not fans of those movies because of the amount of characters that they have in it, and I think that like Captain America, Winter Soldier, and even like Endgame, and like all the we keep going back to Marvel and stuff. But like you look at that, and they balance their characters really well to the point where like people were worried about them being like not being able to handle that many characters. But I think they did a pretty solid job.
Here's why. Here's the thing. Marvel earned their
cinematic universe.
Well, not even the cinematic universe. They earned their Endgame. They earned themselves the moment to have that entire cast come together on one screen and it feel epic and it feel like it made sense and there was a purpose.
Yes.
And then if someone were to get hurt or injured in that, you would have felt it, because they spent 10 years, 3 to 5 movies every single year, developing almost every single one of those characters' stories. So before anyone comes at me and goes, well, 17 characters, what about Marvel? What about that? Like, they earned that. Yeah. They absolutely earned that, and it made sense, and it didn't feel forced, and it didn't feel wrong. Yeah. And even then, like, having all those characters on screen, they had their like, here's my one shot of me fighting, and there's one
Their
shot of
hero
me fighting, and
moments
their
and
one
yeah.
tiny hero moment, and like, I don't know, they earned that.
No, I 100% agree with that.
Like, this makes me mad, and it doesn't even have to do with like earning something, right? I just wanted the only reason I brought that up is before someone tries to like argue with me, like, well, why aren't you mad about that? Like, they earned that. Yeah. My issue with this, and I think, and honestly, the reason I'm so mad about this, the first Suicide Squad movie was awful. Yeah. But what makes me so like, and why I'm so triggered and like heated about this is that movie should have been good.
Had potential.
That movie had so much potential. Like there's aspects of it that I enjoy so much thinking back on it. The acting was great. It looked great. It
soundtrack.
The soundtrack was like, no, I mean, it was just like, it had every piece of the puzzle you could need to make a great Suicide Squad movie. And then they took a whole other box with other puzzle pieces and tried to glue it all together. Like, so what I always say is my issue with Suicide Squad was too many characters that you had to introduce. And then it literally had 3 separate stories going on.
Yeah.
Like, so it had all the right pieces and then it added too many in, you know, like it added too many other things in that it didn't need. It pretty much, they could have split that into 2 or 3 movies and it would have been a great series. But the fact that they just tried to shoehorn so many things into one movie, they completely butchered it and they completely ruined it. And what I told Irving after we saw that movie was, when I found out they were doing another one, I said, the one thing they need to do, cut the amount of characters, cut the amount of stories. And so that's why I'm so mad about this, is they literally did not learn a lesson from that first movie. They didn't learn the lesson. And what are they doing? They're going to do the exact same thing. Because what happened in the first Suicide Squad movie? There were the 4 main characters. And then there were like, oh God. And then there were like
2
or 3 other people who were like, we got an introduction. You get to hear about a backstory. And then immediately got killed. It's like, why are we wasting time with this then? Why did you just waste 10 minutes of a movie on these characters that you're going to kill off in the first half an hour? Like, it just bothered me so much. And so the fact that it feels like that's exactly what they're going to do again. Why the fuck do we have 17 characters being introduced in a trailer for a movie that at most, unless they're going the Zack Snyder cut route for a 4-hour movie, will be 2 hours, and that's probably pushing. Like, I just don't understand. All they needed to do was maybe introduce 1 or 2 other characters, take the cast that was good, do something with it, and you can expand on it in the future. It's not like you can't ever not have these characters. I'm sorry. I could rant about this because it just makes me so mad. I'm mad because the potential I saw in the first movie. I hope I'm proved wrong, but that trailer made me just go. So they took everything that was wrong with the first movie, too many characters, too many cooks in a kitchen, and then did it times 2 or 3. What? I'm sorry. I'm sure you have things to say, but my gosh, I'm so mad just because I'm like, take just a few characters and make one good movie. Why does DC have to shoehorn in 20 characters every freaking movie? Make one good movie about maybe 3 characters. Like, this is the problem with this universe. They are trying too hard to take over. I will keep going. I'm sorry, but I'm
okay.
I'm just mad because the potential was there in the first one, and I feel like it's going to be just a freaking repeat of the same mistakes with the same potential being there.
Yeah. So I wrote. I'll have my thoughts and we'll move on because like you said, we could talk about this. Yeah,
I will rant because I'm mad.
But all I'm gonna say is you're right. The original Suicide Squad movie did have potential. We've already talked about it, you and I. But I want to say the issue that we had with it was there's too many things going on, and had they had streamlined their story to one cohesive story, it would have been great. Imagine the Joker. He finds out that Harley gets kidnapped, or she's a part of the Suicide Squad movie, so he goes to Gotham or Angel City, I think it was to create chaos in order to lure her out to then be with her and stuff like that. Take the whole Enchantress thing out of there and just don't even worry about that.
Or focused on the Enchantress and not had him in there. It needed to be one or the other.
One or the other, but that would have been great for the original one. Now, 17 characters is excessive. at least more than half of them are gonna die. Obviously, they're gonna kill them off in some stupid way. And
really quick? Did you notice when they were talking about it in that fluff piece for it?
Yeah,
they said something that was basically like, "Don't be attached," or So clearly they're gonna kill off half of these big stars right away.
It's obvious. I guess what also bothers me is they're really only having these big stars just to have them almost carry the movie, the same way that or like not even carry the movie, but like bring people through the door, the same way that Godzilla did with the original Godzilla that they did with Bryan Cranston, where he looks, oh my God, he was in every trailer. He looks so good. His dialogue was fantastic. And then he gets killed in like the 30 minutes of the movie.
Or when they did that with that vampire movie Ashanti was in, because she died in that plane crash. And that was the last thing she was in.
Yeah.
And she was literally only in it for 10 to 15 minutes, but she was like the main focus of all their commercials.
Yeah,
to get people in, because it's the last thing she was in, like same kind of mood.
So that's what I think is going to happen in what the direction is. The only saving grace that I have for this, and it kind of sucks because it's James Gunn. James Gunn is a great director, and I think that for a fun, like having that kind of like comedy and like kind of weirdness of it, I think James Gunn is the perfect director for this.
I agree.
We've seen it with Guardians of the Galaxy, and that movie literally of people that nobody knew about. The C team of the Marvels,
made them an A team.
Yeah, and they're great, and like everyone knows them and loves the movies, and arguably my favorite movie of the universe. But that's the only reason why I have faith in this. But at the same time, when they showed that like short behind the scene things, it was super cringy. It was very much fluff, and like the whole like James Gunn being like, "This was the most ambitious project I've ever been on," and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, dude, are you kidding me? Like you've got
stop.
Maybe we'll be surprised, right? Maybe this will be such a great movie, and we'll eat our words. But right now, from the get go, I'm not having a lot of faith in this.
Well, and here's my one other point is, right. So you're like throwing in all these actors and all these heroes. What if someone really, really loves one particular actor or one particular hero, and they're like, oh my gosh, they're going to be in the movie. And then they show up to the theater and they're in it for 3 minutes and then they get killed or they get off screened or like, how is that going to make that person feel? They're like, oh, well, I really came here for this one particular character or actor. Like,
well, John Cena told them, don't get attached.
You know what I mean? Though it's crappy. It's like, if you have this big of a cast, it's going to be that. Make it again. What did I just say about the whole the Wonder Woman thing? Make something a surprise. I think that's the other thing is like nothing's even a surprise anymore. Maybe all these cameos would have been really cool if you didn't expect it. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's blah blah blah. It's blah blah blah. Like there's no surprise anymore. It's like I get you need to sell your tickets, but at the same time, like what if like it might almost be like a false advertisement in a weird way where you're like, I don't know how big of a role that character is going to be, but I'm going for that one actor or that one character. Like,
because the same thing could be said for like Deadpool 2 when Deadpool 2 had their X-Force that they were like, oh my God, they're in it. And they're like skydiving in. I don't feel like they made like such a big deal out of, oh my God, we have Terry Crews in here in the X-Force and we have this person in the X-Force. Like, we're going to get whatever. Like, it was in the trailer and you knew damn well that something dumb was going to happen because it's Deadpool. And all of them die after that skydive. They all die in a really dumb way. And it's literally just Domino because she's lucky and Deadpool.
And that's literally what I think is going to happen in this. So it's almost like taking a page from that book, but then blowing up these roles even more than they need to be.
Yeah,
like instead of making it that like, hey, there's this really cool thing. And then all that, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's blowing it up too much. I don't know. Yeah. It just... So, like I said, I could go on about it. I'm sorry.
No, we're good. Because we have some. We're running out a lot on time. I want to talk about the Justice League Snyder cut. Now, I have very mixed emotions about that. I'm gonna say this right from the get go. I haven't seen the Justice League, but I don't feel like I need to because the amount of like just negativity that movie got and inconsistency that I get it. It's not the vision that Zack Snyder had. But at the same time, I'm also like, what the hell is an hour and a half going to do to save this movie to begin with? Because Zack Snyder doesn't have a good track record of comic book movies in general. If we look back at his previous works, we look at things like 300, which I know you love, right?
I love 300, which made me love Zack Snyder at the beginning of his career.
300 was, I think, was a great movie. A great turn off your brain, just watch, whatever. The fun, great movie.
And it was how he did it was very unique at the time.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was very interesting.
Yes, the art direction that they had, the way that they did the filming, and like the slow-mo, very iconic thing that he does and stuff. Watchmen was another thing that he did, which was praised a lot for its literally turn by turn, page by page adaptation of it up until the last section where they took out the giant squid monster thing that took over. Besides that, I think that I really enjoyed it. Not being a crazy Watchmen fan, I thought it was great. Yeah, I think we've talked about this before. You're a fan as well. And even though Sucker Punch was an awful movie, visually appealing, interesting,
enjoyable, if you don't
you just
take
turn
it
off
too serious.
Turn off your brain again, and that's it.
And if you want just like nice visuals, nice music, like it, yeah.
And yeah, he's got that style, right? The Zack Snyder.
They all are
touch.
a very stylistic thing.
Yes, and when it comes to his, Man of Steel, another very Zack Snyder-ish movie, and
a lot of people hate it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You made me watch it, and I liked it.
I liked it,
but
because
I
of
get the issues.
Yes, and once you look, when you look past face value, you take off your rose-tinted glasses of Zack Snyder's like visual aesthetics, you kind of see the faults of it. But then
I see him hurting characters.
Doing opposite of what they would do normally,
and their characters characteristic.
Yeah, and it was very apparent in the Batman versus Superman. I mean, we would watch that, and what an awful time did we have with that movie. There were so many issues that we had with that. The Martha thing was meme status legendary right now, and so for me, he really hasn't had a great track record. And like Wonder Woman was directed by Patty Jenkins, so that's not the Zack Snyder, and I think that's why I enjoyed Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Shazam, I don't even want to talk about, first of all, because I hated that movie. And Aquaman I haven't seen, but yeah, like I don't understand why people are so hyped about a Snyder cut when I don't feel like he even deserves to have that sort of like recognition as like this is gonna save the movie. Like I said, I know what happened. I know why the direction was changed. We got the Josh Whedon version of it. Justice League, yeah, Justice League that we learned today, yeah. And my heart goes out to Zack Snyder and what he had to go through, and the reasons why he had to take a break from that. And he didn't get to see his vision out, but I don't know. I just don't really see how this vision of Zack Snyder's Justice League was gonna redeem what's happening right now in the DCEU. But that's
all I have to say is I was so done with everything by the time I got to Batman v Superman, and then the reception of Justice League. I was like, I'm done. And it goes back. Okay, now I am bringing up the Marvel deserves everything because they built characters, they built a universe, and Justice League and DCU, they just rushed everything and they've not put the care into it. And this, I feel like this universe is the one that I should have liked more. Just like we said, like I've always liked the characters more. I like the dark gritty thing, and I like Zack Snyder's general like aesthetic and what he goes for. I think but they didn't build things properly. They didn't build the universe. And then just hands down at the end of the day, like I don't like the characters. And I don't know, and I think just again it goes into character development and the characters not being who they need to be. Like I said, like Superman ruining an entire city and killing a bunch of people is horrible. What's his face? Ben Affleck as Batman? I've never wanted to fucking punch someone. Sorry, censor, but I've never wanted to punch someone in the face so much. Yeah. And I felt that way during all the movies that he was in. But the thing that turned me off from the Justice League movie was that, what's your superpower? I'm rich. that was nail in the coffin for me. Like this movie can just go burn. And I don't know. I'm the same way where I'm just like instead of just letting this cinematic universe just die and try again, now they're going back to a movie and they're putting time, a ton of money, and a ton of energy into a movie that probably isn't going to be that good even with these other cuts. And I'm sorry, but like it's what, 4 hours?
4 hours. They're going to be 1 hour episodes or sections on HBO Max.
I didn't want to watch the 2 hour movie. last thing I want to do. And these of course just are opinions. I don't get it though. I don't get the hype. I want Ben Affleck to never put on a bat suit again.
Yes, please.
I mean, it's just the whole universe is so unlikable. Even like Henry Cavill is a great Superman, but not likable. Like there's not one. I think that's another reason I'm so pissed off about the whole Suicide Squad thing is they made those characters, even though they're villains, really likable. Like it's insane how different these two franchises were handled. And it's ironically, you know what I want to see get another cut? Suicide Squad.
Honestly, yeah.
Like, instead of the Zack Snyder Justice League movie, can we like take the movie that actually has potential and redo that one? All right, I'm starting a petition.
Irving cut. I'll make it.
Irving cut. No, you know what I mean? Like, it's just funny because it's like, I don't get it. I would like to see if they're going to put this time and energy into something, put it into a movie that had the actual potential.
We'll see. We'll see what happens with it.
Well,
it's coming out.
We won't because I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, 2021 is when this will be released on HBO Max. Now, something that I was looking forward to this, and I don't think this disappointed. This was the last thing that they showed, and I'm excited for this now. The Batman, right? This was another universe again, another universe of the Batman. It stars Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne, and he is the Batman. And the trailer that we saw was pretty dark, pretty gritty. I felt the same way when I watched the Joker trailer about this movie. That feeling I had when I watched the Joker movie, and I was super excited for it when I saw the trailer for that. I feel the same way when I saw this trailer, and I'm excited for it. Robert Pattinson's playing, Bruce Wayne, Batman, and he's a great actor. Everyone forget about Twilight because he's done some other fantastic work. Zoe Kravitz is also in here, and she plays Selena Kyle, a very just starting out Catwoman. Colin Farrell, almost unrecognizable, is playing Oswald Cobblepot, which eventually turns into the Penguin. And Paul Dano is the man with the duct tape, which is the first iteration of what the Riddler is going to be. He, eventually turns into the Riddler. But, I mean, the whole trailer is pretty much the Riddler just, playing and toying with Batman and messing with him and trying to get him to uncover a secret about his family that he may not have known about. And it's kind of dark as well, as far as like his family really wasn't the shining grace of Gotham that he might think that, they were. So this gives me Seven vibes. And I've heard somebody else say that, and it's not, I'm not trying to steal what they're saying, but I completely understand what they're saying, where it says Seven vibes, right? It's almost like a detective story of really gritty, grounded thing. And pretty much Riddler feels like I forget his characters, but the bad guy in Seven, like he feels like that. He's messing with Batman, he's toying with him, he's making him go through all these things, is what I kind of get from this. So I'm stoked for this. I think that it'll be really good. I mean, that fight scene where he just beats the crap out of that bad guy, it looks great. So yeah, that's pretty much all. I know I talked about it a lot, but yeah. No?
I'm not usually I'm not usually one to be like about the actors, but I just think Robert Pattinson's a weird looking dude.
A little bit.
And I don't know. I just see Twilight, and I know you just said forget Twilight. He's a good actor. He's done other things, but I don't know. Like something in the trailer, I was expecting, because he's like got handsome features, but like I don't know. I'm not sold on Robert Pattinson as Batman.
Was it his Tobey Maguire emo hair covering his face?
I don't know. Like we were saying, something about the trailer looked really CGI, and he didn't even look like a human. So I think that's also what's kind of throwing me off. Like I just had some weird moment where I was like, is this a game? No, it's a movie. And it's just, I don't know. I need to see more. I'm not sold. Although I will say I'm more sold on Robert Pattinson as Batman than I am Ben Affleck.
Definitely.
So it's already an upgrade.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not sold on it, but I'm also not unsold on it. I need to see more.
Open-minded about it. You kind of want to see more.
I'm open-minded. Like I'd like to see how he does, but that trailer didn't really sell me on anything. So.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's basically what happened with the DC Fandome. I want to know what you guys think about the event. What were your thoughts? What was your biggest takeaway, your biggest highlight, and what was your biggest disappointed, if you had any, maybe you think we're crazy and you're like, you guys are just, scrutinizing us way too much and you got to be a little more lighthearted.
To be fair, I'm not a huge comic book fan, so this is my opinions are very surface level.
Yeah.
And I will admit that, and you guys can call me wrong and I will probably agree.
Yeah, but let us know in the comments below. Let me know what your thoughts are on the DC Fandome, and we'll talk in the comments. That brings us to question of the week. Now, remember, everybody, you can join us on our conversation on question of the week if you follow us on Twitter at LxMDuo, where every week we ask a question to our community and your answer could be highlighted here on the podcast. Just like Adrian, once again, bringing in his opinions. Now, Ori, I'm sorry.
You should probably ask the question first, my dear.
Yeah, let me ask the question first. Our question this week was, what has been your favorite game release of the 2020 so far? What is your most anticipated game for the rest of 2020? 2020 has been a weird year, a lot of delays. So but there have been games that have come out. Listen,
the beginning was a good run because everything was basically complete.
Yeah. Adrian chimes in and he says Ori and the Will of the Wisp, an Xbox exclusive, got a 10 from IGN.
I actually will play this at some point.
Yeah.
Because it looks great.
I started playing this and this was fun. He says, Ori and the Will of the Wisp was such an awesome game that I totally fell in love with the world, the music, and the mechanics of the game. And by far, he is most excited for Star Wars Squadrons. It's literal dream come true. Adrian's a huge fan of Star Wars. We've talked about this before, and man, he's so stoked for Squadrons, and I'm right there with him. I am so excited for this game. It's going to be a $40 game, 5-player co-op. We've already got our squads together. We know what kind of tactics we're running. Yeah, this is a dream game for us because we grew up playing Star Wars Rogue Squadron, and that was always such a fun game. So yeah. Teresa says she was so excited, but she's also pumped for Cyberpunk 2077. This game was supposed to come out in April. I can't believe that. April.
So funny. She's answering both. It's one of the only times she can answer both questions with one game in a weird way.
I know she's been really enjoying Red Dead Redemption 2. She's been playing the crap out of that game, and I'm sure that's her game that she's been enjoying so far during the year, but nothing has released that has been really grasping her, apparently, because she's just excited for Cyberpunk, and I don't blame her.
I would say no one can blame her.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Cyberpunk, and I mean, I will in just a bit, because our picks for our games that we've enjoyed so far. Now, I have a few games, but I couldn't decide between the two because they're very different, and as far as the reason why I like them so much, but I want to start with Valorant. I know that people compare Valorant to CSGO and they love CSGO more and they just crap on Valorant. I get it, guys. It's fine. You can have your opinions, but I can also have my opinions because I love this game. This is such a fun game that because it takes things that I'm familiar with from like hero shooters like Overwatch and stuff like that, mixes it with really strict like gunplay, which I know sometimes it doesn't really register well or whatever. You have your gripes with it, but I really enjoyed it. And the biggest thing that I really liked about it was seeing myself progress and be a total scrub and noob to being able to hit my shots, flick shots here and there, and just seeing my progressions from just like not being great at it just to being like pretty decent at it. That's what I've really liked the most, because I know PC gaming is really, really hard, and like aiming on a PC is better, but it's still super hard in order to get that. So like I just like seeing myself improve on it, learning the new characters and just getting a better, game sense. So I love that game. It's been a lot of fun, and I wish more people would play with me. Yeah. And fun fact, people have stopped asking me if I'm Kyrie Irving. I haven't gotten that in a while, so they obviously listen to the podcast.
Obviously.
And the other game that's really been grabbing my attention is Warzone. Warzone has really grasped my attention in Call of Duty. I haven't really digged Call of Duty in a really long time. Like, yeah, I played like, Black Ops 4 and, that, but like Warzone has really brought me back into it, and the Call of Duty in general has been really, really fun. And I know it's last year's game, but Warzone came out this year. And just being able to play with my cousins and my brother has been a really, really fun time. Just hanging out with the family, just playing video games together. It just kind of reminds me of like the old days where,
simpler times.
Simpler times. You'd spend the summer over at our house. We just play video games, Halo 2 on a tiny SpongeBob TV, 4-player co-op, like that kind of just brings me back. So those are my games that I've really enjoyed from the beginning of the year. So what are your games, Allie?
I am but a simpleton.
A simpleton.
I am but a simpleton. Yeah. For me, it's been Animal Crossing. I fell into the Animal Crossing hype, and like, it's funny because I've never played Animal Crossing. Everyone knows I'm not a huge Nintendo fan.
Yeah.
And we just happened to get the Switch right before the whole quarantine shutdown happened. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, like, Animal Crossing was the perfect storm. Yeah. Like, that game sold so well, and I will tell you, if there wasn't a massive pandemic, that game would have had success, but it wouldn't have had the same success it has had. Yeah. But it's been nice. And I mean, it turns out Animal Crossing is totally the type of game that I can get down with, and it's, like I said, sometimes I like just that simple simulation game, and with the mass chaos of the world right now, the simplicity of going on an island and starting a new life, it was literally the perfect timing.
No, definitely.
And yeah, I mean, so for me, the beginning of the year, and Animal Crossing was never on my radar. I only got it because it was coming out the very first week of quarantine. We were locked down and
no work.
Yeah, and honestly, it was Rona, because Rona kept being like, everyone should get Animal Crossing. I wouldn't have even picked it up if she hadn't said it like 5 times, and I was finally just like, sure, what am I going to do? We're locked down for a month. And that was a bad decision just because I literally didn't put it down. I think I have over 250 hours in it. The game only came out at the end of March. And that was really my enjoyed game that was released this year. The only thing with it is there are gripes and there are issues, and I think it's very far from a perfect game, but it was a great time killer when I could have been really depressed and I could have really been in a dark place. It was a good distraction.
Definitely.
I've kind of fallen off. I definitely spent 3 months logging in every single day, and I've hit burnout finally, though. So that is my only complaint. The burnout's real, and I haven't picked it up in like 2 weeks now. Which is crazy because Irving can vouch that I was literally on there every single day, at least doing some errands and checking the stores and
doing the wedding event. That was really fun. Doing the wedding event
almost every day. Yeah. But no, it's been a great game. It was really fun. And I mean, for a simple style game where you just live, I don't know. I have great things to say about it for the most part. And if it hadn't been for quarantine, I don't think I would have gotten burned out as quick.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah. But, I mean, and this is going to sound terrible. I think that's really the only game for the whole year that is even going to be on my radar. Just with all the COVID stuff, I'm not really looking forward to anything. It's not that it's, like I said, I feel like things that were going to be announced now won't be announced until 2021. It seems like a pretty slow season coming up, even though there's some really heavy hitters. There's nothing I'm totally looking forward to. The one thing I am looking forward to, along with everybody, is Cyberpunk, but not even in a sense that I want to necessarily play it. I'm excited to watch you play it, and I'm excited to experience it with you. So
yeah. I mean, that's obviously my game that I'm most excited for. Like, I think Halo was up there, and
it was for me. That would have been my pick if it was not delayed.
Yeah, but it's delayed, and Squadrons is I'm super looking forward to that as well. But like, just being able to like just kind of do what you did with Animal Crossing and just like go live in another world for like a good amount of time. I think that's we talked about Cyberpunk being my dream game, but that's kind of what I'm looking forward to the most is.
Well, to be fair, you've been talking about Cyberpunk since we got together.
Yeah.
And you've been talking about it based off of a trailer and the fact it was a cyberpunk dystopian future. That was all you needed to be sold on it. So it's funny that there's like such a big hype around it now, when 3 years ago, if you brought it up, no one had any idea what you were talking about. So like you're like OG fan, OG like excited for it too.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I like to think that for sure. Like you said, I've been excited since that original trailer, which I still love that trailer, the music, the visuals. Oh my gosh. And yeah, I'm just that's why I wasn't too torn up that it was delayed again, because it's fine. Like
It's been so long. You want it to come out the best it can.
Yeah, like I've waited long enough. Like I can wait a little bit longer, but I think among like that's literally the only game that I'm looking forward to besides like I said, Squadrons and stuff. But I mean, it's pretty obvious that Cyberpunk is going to be taking over our lives at the end of the year. But yeah, no, I'm super stoked. But I want to know what you guys think. What has been your game that you've really enjoyed this year so far?
What's gotten you through 2020 so far?
Yeah,
that's the real question.
Yeah, honestly.
And what's the one game that's keeping you going till the end of the year?
Wow, yeah. Yeah, let us know in the comments below, and we'll talk in the comments and discuss there. Again, if you want your answer highlighted here on Power On Weekly, make sure to follow us on @LxMDuo and answer our questions for next week's question of the week.
Be sure to like this video, subscribe, follow us on Twitter also if you want to join us for a live stream on Twitch. Twitch.tv/LxMDuo.
Yeah,
we're streaming a little bit here and there, no set schedule, but if you want to come live as well outside of the podcast, that's where you'll find us, and that's where you find information on us going live. Just wanted to do a little shout out to that as well.
Yeah, we need to be better about the whole YouTube integration thing. Yeah.
YouTube integration.
Yeah, or YouTube Twitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's all we have for this week. Thank you once again for joining us for Power On Weekly. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you guys next week. Be safe, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.